Hello and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down Road to UFC, the finals for 2023, Season 2 of Road to UFC. Usually there's 4 fights on this card. Well, usually it's a part of a UFC card. This was supposed to be a part of UFC Singapore. That whole card fell apart, so they moved this. They made its own card. It's going to happen right after UFC Vegas 85 on Saturday night, so I think they listed it as like 11:30 p.m. is what they're hoping for. So we'll see. But the fight card is supposed to have 4 fights. It's only going to have 3 as the bantamweight finals fell through. So we're going to have the flyweight finals, the featherweight finals, and the lightweight finals. And then I think they're going to do the bantamweight finals somewhere else. I'm assuming they're just going to throw it on some random card and call it a day. So we can hop right into it. I don't think this is going to take too long. I want to go through this pretty quick. And yeah, let's hop right in. So for the first fight, we've got Ray Tsuruya, versus Jinny Yushie. Ray is 8-0, 21 years old, 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. I'm going to call Jinny Yushie Jin just because I'm probably mispronouncing his name. So Jin is 13-2-0. He's 23, 2 years older, both extremely young and very new in their careers, despite Jin having 15 fights and Ray already having 8. Jin is 5'8", so he's 2 inches taller, and they're going to have about the same reach, about a 1-inch reach advantage for Jin. And look, Tsuruya, if you guys don't know who he is, he's a really, really, really good wrestler. He's got great grappling credentials. His jiu-jitsu is really solid too. The transitions on the ground are fantastic. He's extremely, I don't want to say physical, but he's strong with the takedowns. He's got great timing. Everything about the grappling is so good. Once he's on the ground, the control is great. The transitions are great. The attempts are great. Everything about it. He's got good ground and pound, but he's more so looking for the submissions. On the feet, he's a little green, and you can tell he's throwing crazy overhand rights, but there's times where he's throwing nice, clean combinations as well. I just think he's still green there. He is 21 years old, relatively new in his MMA career. So the striking will develop. Right now, he's mostly a grappler. He can struggle a little bit at range. I do think he's a bit hittable. I did notice that, especially in the Climaco fight. Climaco was able to drop him. But Climaco is another really, really good fighter who's probably going to make his way to the UFC eventually without the tournament, or with it maybe on Season 3. But Tsuruya, just an absolute beast. The cardio is there. He can keep up that grappling pace. And Climaco is a great win, man. Climaco is a good fighter, and that was a very impressive win to have over in his career. So for Jin, I can't really get a great read on him. He's a good striker. He's a little lanky. So I don't know if he's going to be able to defend the takedowns of Ray. He is a good wrestler in his own right. Offensively, he's getting takedowns. He's getting control. He's got pretty good jiu-jitsu of his own. Not on the level of Ray, but it's also pretty good. The problem is I don't have any information on his takedown defense or his grappling defense because pretty much no one's shooting on him. I think Sunguk Choi, is that his name? I believe that's his name. Yeah, Sunguk Choi, he did shoot on him once. He didn't get it. But other than that, in none of the regional tape that I have, did anybody really shoot on Jin? It's usually him shooting. So I don't know. Maybe the takedown defense is like elite, and then he can piece up Ray. But I have a gut feeling that even if it's good, it's probably not going to be enough. Climaco is a good wrestler in his own right, and he could not stop Tsuruya for the most part. And the back takes, everything just mixed together. There's so much variety to Ray's grappling that it's going to be hard for Jin to know what's coming next. If he can keep it on the feet somehow, he's live here. He's a good striker. He uses his range well. The combinations are clean, good jab. But I just don't think it's going to be on the feet very long. Ray will shoot right away, and I do think he's going to get it. Does he submit Jin? I don't know, but he can win a decision too. It doesn't have to be a submission. So I'll pick Ray, but I highly, highly doubt it's going to be anything playable. They're probably going to open him like minus 300, which makes sense, but can't go over there and play minus 300 on a 21-year-old with only 8 pro fights. So Ray is the pick. We'll see what happens with the line, and we can move on. Next up, we've got Kaiwen Lee versus Yi Zha. Lee is 12-6-0. He's 28 years old, 5'9" with a 69-inch reach. On the other side, Yi Zha, he's 24-4-0, going to be 27, so he's 1 year younger, 2 inches shorter, but he's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage in this fight. So Yi Zha, he actually fought in the finals last year against Jung Young Lee, and I thought he won that fight. I did have a pretty big ticket on him, plus 200, something like that. So I'm a little biased, but I did think that the wrestling was enough there. In this fight, Lee, I would have liked some more information on his takedown defense, but in his last fight, he did defend, I think, 8 of 9 takedowns. He did get taken down, though, when it was well timed. He had nothing for it. The underhooks are pretty good, but he's been taken down in the regionals as well. It's not like a huge hole. He seems to have pretty good offensive wrestling, too, but I'd say that's a weakness for Lee. His striking is very solid. He's a really jacked looking dude. He's clearly got power, good combinations, good body work. He's going to be the better striker here, but by what margin, I can't really tell you. I'd say he's a bit better, and his counters are really good, and he is very explosive and powerful. So he is going to be able to knock out Yi Zha, I think, especially the way Yi Zha strikes. So I'm not crazy about his striking. It's okay. It's serviceable. It helps set up the takedowns, and he can win minutes on the feet depending who he's fighting. But he kind of overextends sometimes on the strikes. And I think that's going to open him for counters against someone like Lee here, who is a good counter striker, who is a good striker in general. The thing is, Yi Zha is really good with the wrestling also. He's pretty relentless. And this is a very similar matchup to his finals last year when he fought Jung Young Lee. Jung Young Lee is also a very explosive, mostly striker guy who can grapple a little bit, but he prefers to strike. He knocks people out. And Yi Zha was able to control him for most of the fight. It's just he wasn't doing enough damage. So is he going to be able to do enough damage? Will Lee be able to do enough off his back to win minutes like Jung Young Lee did? I don't think so. Lee doesn't really seem to have the same kind of submission threat off his back. I don't really see him throwing a lot of elbows off his back. So I don't know if he's going to be winning minutes off his back like Lee was able to. I think that Yi Zha, he's going to be on the feet with him standing for a little bit, and then he's going to start shooting. And I think he is going to get the takedowns. I do think he's going to get the control time. And ultimately, I do think he's going to win a decision here. I'd be careful depending on the odds. I wouldn't play Yi Zha at crazy chalk because I do think he can get knocked out here. I do think it's a possibility that Lee can keep this on the feet enough to win the fight just with his striking. I just think that if it is going to be close odds, I'm going to go with the grappler over the striker here. I think that the edge in the grappling is wider than it is in the striking between the two. Lee's, I'd say, about a slightly better striker, but I'd say Yi Zha is a significantly better grappler. So I'll go with Yi Zha for the win. Going to need the odds to know what we're doing exactly, but we're going to see what they open it up at, and we'll decide accordingly. And then moving on to our final fight of the card. It's the 155 finals. We've got Rong Zhu versus Shin Haraguchi. Rong Zhu is 24-5-0. He's 23 years old, 5'9" with a 72.5-inch reach. On the other side, Shin, he's going to be 7-0, undefeated, 25. He's 2 years younger, going to be 3 inches shorter, and going to have about a 4-inch reach disadvantage. So Shin is a really, really good wrestler, like a real good wrestler, highly credentialed. The problem is there's two issues in my mind. The first one, I don't think he belongs at lightweight. He's too small. He's 5'6". You're just not going to have a long, successful career at lightweight. Being 5'6", he should be looking to move down to 145. If I were him, I'd get a real good trainer, like for cardio, a really good diet person, and get down to bantamweight, because I think that's where he belongs, being 5'6". He's not incredibly wide or anything like that, where I think he needs to be at this weight class. I do think he can make the cut with the proper preparation. And at bantamweight, I mean, he's going to be a menace. Even at featherweight, he'd be a problem probably, but 5'6" at lightweight, I think it's just too small. The other problem I have with him, he doesn't really have much striking. His striking isn't very good. He depends on that grappling, and he just doesn't have much with his hands. I didn't really see anything I liked in terms of his striking. He'll just keep going for the wrestling over and over and over again. He's similar to a Merab, right? Where he'll just come in and he'll be relentless. The difference is Merab also can strike. It's not elite by any means, but because he's throwing so much and he's pressuring so much, the striking does work too. The problem is Shin doesn't really do that. He just keeps going for the takedown. He doesn't really mix in too many strikes like Marab would. He got 17 takedowns in his last fight. And every time the guy was popping back up, he wasn't really doing a ton of damage. His control is usually pretty good, but in that fight in particular, it was not good at all. I mean, when you see a number like that, right? 17 takedowns, it looks good. It means he has the cardio to get a lot of takedowns and wrestle for 15 minutes. It means that he's a great wrestler, but it also means that the other guy got up 16 times. So that means he's not having good control. Against a guy like Rong Zhu, I think he might be in trouble because Rong Zhu, he's really good. He's really good. He's still kind of green, which is crazy considering he has 29, almost 30 fights, but he's young. He's 23 years old. We've seen him make mistakes. He had a UFC run. He lost to Kazua Vargas. Then he beat Brandon Jenkins, and then he got subbed by Ignacio Bahamondes. Other than the Vargas loss, nothing to be embarrassed of there. But I think he was like 21 when he had the Vargas fight. He was like one of the youngest guys in the UFC, if not the youngest at the time. So he's been there. He's been in the UFC, and then he's fought on the regionals as well. He's fought now in the Road to UFC tournament again. He's had 2 fights that one of them was very easy, knocked the guy out quick. The second fight, he fought a guy in, what was his name? Sang-Guk Kim, who's 6 feet tall, pretty good grappler. And it was a pretty close fight, honestly, where Rong Zhu was like minus 500. And it was a pretty close fight. But at the end of the day, his takedown defense is actually pretty good. He's a good offensive wrestler in his own right. And when he is getting taken down, his get-ups are very solid. He doesn't just play off his back. He's not looking to do that, which I love. He's trying to get right back up and right back to striking where he's most comfortable. And he's going to be a significantly better striker than Shin here, like a lot better striker. He's got power. He's got combos. He's got output. He's comfortable on his feet. He mixes it up really well. He'll go to the body, to the legs. I just think he's got Shin covered standing. In terms of the grappling, Shin will probably take him down multiple times, but it's not going to be easy. Rong Zhu will get back up, and I think he's going to stuff a lot of takedowns too. So I'm going to pick Rong Zhu to win the fight. I normally like to pick the wrestlers, but if I don't think he can really get control, and I don't really think he's doing a ton of damage, just getting the takedowns alone won't be enough to win the fight. We've seen multiple people lose this way. Yaji, who we just spoke about last year, lost because he wasn't doing enough damage despite having all this control time in the fight. So even if Shin is taking him down, if he's not doing anything with it, and Rong Zhu is the one beating him up on the feet and causing damage, Rong Zhu can win that fight. He can get that dub. And I kind of think that's what's going to happen is he's going to get taken down a few times. He's going to build his base, get back up, and start to find more and more success on the feet the more he can stuff and see the takedowns coming. And it's not like Shin's going to come over here and mask the takedowns. He doesn't mask them because he doesn't really have striking to mask them with. He just goes right for it. I mean, even his MMA career is really, really green. He started in 2021. He still has a lot to learn, a lot to develop. And I think the striking really needs to be developed before he's going to be able to be a high level guy. The wrestling is there. The grappling is there. The cardio is there. But he still needs to develop some striking because I don't know if it's going to be enough. I'm picking Rong Zhu. We're going to see what the line is. If it's close, I'll play Rong Zhu. If Shin's a big dog, I'm going to take my chances and go with Shin. We'll see what they give me, but the pick is going to be Rong Zhu. I think he wins this fight more often than not, just in terms of being a much better striker and having his own grappling where I think he can hang. Not necessarily go and get takedowns against Shin, maybe, but I wouldn't advise it. But good enough where he can use it defensively, keep it in the striking where he's comfortable, and win the fight. So Rong Zhu, once again, is the pick. And that's it, guys. Only 3 fights, so it didn't take too long. I'll run through them one more time in terms of who I'm picking, and then we'll hop right out. So I'm picking Rate Tsuruya, I'm picking Yi Jia, and I'm picking Rong Zhu. Those are going to be my 3 picks. And that's it, guys. Thank you. Oh, and if you want the actual plays when I make them, going to be 2 places you want to look. At Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter. I'm going to make if I make any bets, that's where I'm going to post them. And I put them first on my Discord. That is 100% free. I'll put the link into this description of this video, and you can hop in. I post all my picks there. I go first there. Then I also post all my typed up notes there. And we talk a bunch of fights. We've got like 15 different channels for all the regionals, all the UFC coming up. And we talk all the fights, what we're thinking, and all of that. So, yeah, thank you guys once again. Peace out and good luck this weekend.